Okay. Testing, testing. Can you hear me now? All right, look, that looks good. Oh, we're about to go live. Don't you worry, it's Big Mike, the big bad nerd dad, here to sing for you. Attention, Earthlings. We're here to take over your Twitch streams. Pum pum parum parum pum 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 parum parum pum 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 parum pum pum parum pum pum do do do. A few more minutes and we'll be going live, everybody. Hope you're ready to have a good time. Talk about some games. All right. A few more seconds. All right, everybody. I don't have my countdown anymore, so we're almost there. All right, here we go. Let's get this shindig started. Boop. Ha! Good evening, everybody. Super excited to be back streaming. Had to take last week off because I needed some time to rest. I'm still having trouble sitting or standing for long periods of time because of my back injury. But I'm back. I'm here. My desk area is a little bit more clean. I took out the giant bookshelf that was behind me, and we'll be probably moving into the other room for streaming at a later date. We'll figure it out. But I'm very excited today to bring to you a brand new game in our family arsenal, Zombicide. Ooh. Bring it over here so it's not blocking our sponsor logo. So for anybody that knows Sabrina and I, we have been playing Zombicide for going on 10 years now. Like since we met. We got real big into it when we were living here in Humble, and then played it in the Energy Corridor. Sabrina was actually a volunteer for Cool Mini or Not, the company itself, and had all of the original game expansion, secret characters. I stay secret, the extra characters, and we just had a blast with it. And thankfully, when the second edition came out, my good friend John Owens, he is a content creator over at Havoc Maker. If you're on Twitch, he pops up from time to time. Or if you're on Facebook, he has a Facebook page too for Havoc Maker. And he is an extremely talented artist, painting wise. He paints miniatures. I'm decent, and I like to think that I can help newer people at the very least get into it and learn different techniques. But John is a master of his craft, and I thoroughly enjoy watching him. But today we'll be painting a miniature from Zombicide. I had a couple of big ones, and I'll show those in just a second. John actually started painting one of them. He gave me this Zombicide for quite a steal, I must say, an amazing deal. He even started painting one of the other miniatures, so I'll go right over to that right now. Whoop, little me. So here you'll see one of the abominations. This is one of the largest zombies that the Zombicide core box carries. You see he's very mean and nasty. He's got different bits of metal and bits of glass protruding from him. It looks like he's supposed to be what was a police officer at one point when he was a human. And then once the zombie virus took over him, he mutated into this huge Abomacop. I'm not quite sure what the real name for him is, but he's a monster. And to give him a little bit of scale, here goes one of the player characters, which we'll be painting tonight on the stream. As you can see, he's much larger, much more intimidating. Base size wise, quite a bit bigger. And so when John gave me the game, he had already painted or started painting this one, and it's beautifully done. A lot of work. I can tell where he's used contrast paints and some inks. And I plan on doing some dry brushing on the black body armor. Just going over that at a later time. But tonight we'll be working on this miniature right here. You can see it's sort of a gray orange. I did a little light priming to it. Originally, all of the base game characters come in like this bright, fun orange, and that's my guess is that's to differentiate them from the zombies, which all come in a gray. And while the orange and gray are easy to look at and identify on the board, I want to paint them individually. When we had our original set of miniatures from the original Zombicide game, Sabrina painted all of the original zombies and characters. So it was very well done and made the board come alive. And so that's what we'll be doing today with this character. This character's name is Josh. And they brought back several of the original characters from the original game. Josh and Amy and Wanda and Doug. You can see the paint scheme that the color scheme that they gave Josh. So I'll be trying to emulate that with the colors that I have available. No, it's not that hard doing blue jean and gray hoodie. So we'll go from there. Set up. Oh, it looks like my webcam fizzled. Woohoo! One second, I'm still here. I'm just trying to get this all put together. Oh no, I don't know what happened. Hey, Michael Bradley, thank you very much for liking this stream. I'm just getting some things worked out real quick. Oh no. One second, it looks like my webcam went out. At least let me get to this one. Oh, it's still working. Alright, so we will no. Sorry about this technical difficulty. Okay, here we go. Oop. Ooh, that's bright. Don't worry, I'm just fixing a few things. Oop. Trying to make me not look like a mutant. Yes. I bring down the brightness. Bring down the contrast just a shade. If I look normal. Fly. Okay. Ta-da! All right, that's better. A little bit more. All right, there we go. One. And oopa. Oop. There we go. There we go. That should be better now. Okay. Back to it. So, I've completely switched paint lines. I had been using, hello, Miss Oakletree. I had been using Army Painters. Army Painter war paints, and while I think they're fantastic, I love them. I do not think that there's anything wrong with them, other than I've found a paint that I think is better. It flows easier. It's less expensive. You get more paint for how much you pay for, and that is the new Pro Acryl by Monument Hobbies. I just think that it's a fantastic. New new paint that's out on the market that not a lot of people know about. I've had several different friends tell me that they prefer it, that it flows easier. It's a nice, easy thing to use. I mean, it's got good coverage. So that's what we'll be using today. First, we are going to start by using some of this bright warm gray. And that's what we originally used to do the base coat. And I'm just going to give it another one up with the base coat. If you've never painted a miniature before, I always recommend washing your miniature, letting them dry completely, and then priming them. It doesn't have to be a lot, just enough to get some of that primer attached to the model. So that you can, so the paint will have something to stick to a little bit better than just the model. And the reason that you wash your models is because anytime a model is finished being made, when they release it from the mold that it comes from, molds will have mold release in it. Sometimes that mold release can stop paint from adhering correctly or have an adverse effect with the paint. So just wash your models, give them a quick wash with warm water, a little bit of soap. You'll be good to go. So in the picture for Josh, you can kind of see belly. I don't want belly showing. That's just a personal preference. So we're going to paint all the way around like it's belly, like it's sweatshirt. Other thing too, Josh has tattoos on their belly, and I don't feel like freehanding tattoos anytime soon. A little bit more. And again, it doesn't take much just to get a nice little layer. A lot of other people will use a spray primer. It's perfectly fine to use spray primer. I find with these monument models, the paint flows so easily that it'll just stick right to it. Just bloop. So if you can hear something in the background, that's Sabrina. She's playing Tales of Arise. She seems to be having a really good time with it. Her best friend, Courtney, is playing it as well. Alright, so there. Josh is mostly painted. I'm going to switch the camera to autofocus, just so that I can get closer pictures of it. Auto apply. Okay, there we go. Done. So we can go boop. See the model a little bit better. Disregard my painty hands. All right, so now we have Josh semi-painted up, and we actually played this past Saturday evening. Me and my good friends, Joe, Hannah, my brother Rudy was there, my wife, and Miss Alex. We all played Zombicide together. We actually played 4 rounds of it. It went by really well. I feel like everybody had a good time playing. Alright, so next, I want to start with the pants and work my way up. Josh, I feel like would have Converse, so I'm just going to do black and white Converse. I have a sky blue that I'm going to use for the pants, and then I'll actually, you know what? I'm going to start with the deeper blue. A deeper blue. And if you look at what I keep my paints in, it is absolutely nothing special. It's this old little tackle box. Dark gray blue is what we'll use. Yeah. Oh yeah. Looks like my beautiful wife is turning in for the night. She's not watching me stream though, so that's okay. That's no viewer lost, ladies and gentlemen. Something that a good painter once taught me was that you don't shake your paints. You want to roll them in your hands so that you don't create too many air bubbles. I don't know if that's an issue with these paints, but it's an old habit that I have. Not to shake it like that. And then a cool thing that these paints also come with is that instead of there being like a ball bearing like some paint manufacturers do, actually a lot of them don't, but they have a little glass bead on the inside of this paint so that when you go to mix it, shake it, it actually gets mixed more thoroughly. So I am going to, I think this is brand new. This is, all my paints are brand new. I haven't used them before. So we are going to take this off. Oh yeah, that's going to be a nice denim. A nice denim color, and then we'll highlight it with the sky blue. Right now we'll be using the dark gray blue, and all the colors that I'm using come out of the Pro Acryl base set. So you can actually get this set from any local hobby shop that carries Monument Hobbies Pro Acryl. And if they're not carrying it, you need to tell them to carry it because it's a fantastic paint line. So it's real quick. I know it's a little hard to see because the camera doesn't like the focus. Come on. Anyway, the details on these miniatures are fantastic. So we want to really bring out those details. You don't want to put too thick of paint on there. So just a little paint will do it. And if you primed it correctly, it'll just paint right on. Bloop. Yeah, it's got good coverage. With this dark gray blue, I'm just going to be very sloppy with it. We'll go back later and pick up details. But it's already starting to look a lot better. And for those of you that don't know or believe, it is absolutely true. Painted models play better. If your model's painted, it means that you have faith in it, that you believe in it, and it'll do a good job for you. Yeah. Nice. Another thing that I've noticed with this Pro Acryl paint is that I don't have to whip my brush as often, like on a wet palette or something. I can just straight paint it. A few weeks ago, I painted a miniature from my buddy James. He has the Resident Evil 2 board game, and he asked me to paint a sewer crocodile from the board game, which was like an expansion piece. And it was a fairly decent sized miniature, so one of the larger miniatures that I painted in a while. All right. And as I'm painting Josh's pants, I'm thinking to myself, I put way too much paint. I just put one little drop of paint and it's already done all this coverage. I may have to try and paint another piece so I don't waste paint. In a week or two, I'll be doing batch painting of zombies so that we can have painted zombies as well. Right, so, next, we are going to do, where is it? Dark warm gray. Okay, so I am going to clear the brush. Let it dry out. Take care of the tip. Always want to make sure that you're not just smushing your brushes and wile them around. Like roll the bristles so they'll come out a little bit nicer. We're gonna start painting the hoodie. So I have this. This is what I primed the crocodile with. It is a dark, warm gray. I actually prefer priming with a very dark gray as opposed to a black because I feel like the gray allows you to see more details. And when you paint over it or highlight it just over the dark gray, it makes everything look better. Like I'm planning on getting this dark gray in bulk so I can do a bunch of terrain and do a bunch of larger set pieces. And watch, I'm just putting one little drop. Boop. Maybe a little bit more. That's enough. That's enough. Because that drop of blue was way too much. And what I've been doing is leaving a little bit of the paint on the tip so that as I'm going through my paint box and looking for different paints, I can be like, oh, this is what it looks like when it dries on black. So I know it gives me a sense of what the color truly is instead of just guessing. All right, so we're gonna go back and do the hoodie as these pants dry. Very simple. I would like everybody to know that I'm still saving up money, so if you know any sponsors or anybody that would like to donate to my cause, it would be greatly appreciated. But soon, I'll be getting background music that's been specially made from our good friend Pike here in the Humble, Kingwood, Houston area. A very talented musician who already has his first album out. I'm very excited for that. Okay, and again, I am not going to leave flesh visible. I'm going to paint every last bit of this hoodie and then make the belly look like it was part of the hoodie. And it's really neat that this character, Josh, you know Jason, if you're watching on Facebook on the multi-stream, Jason is a good friend. And yes, the Army Painter speed paints are fantastic. They do real well for when you're trying to do a lot of color on one specific thing. They're just like the Army Paint. I'm not Army Painter. They're just like the Warhammer contrast paints, identical to them. I say identical. They're the same concept that you paint something white, or you paint something off white, and then you hit it with this contrast paint, and it does all the shading. It does all of the layers for you. And while I think that is fantastic, there's some things that it can't get the look of. I don't know why it keeps turning off, but it's making me frustrated. But yeah, the Army Painter speed paints look fantastic. I haven't gotten my hands on them, but they look like a fantastic tool for people who just want to get their stuff painted, handle their business. All right, so there's that. I'm going to resituate this. Well, I guess this little camera just scoopers. This never used to happen with my Logitech. Just saying. Oh! Can you hear me now? All right, cool. All right, we're getting there. This is a pain in the butt. I have multiple prompts. Do now. All right, there we go. That's smaller. Thank you for bearing with me. There we go. Brightness. Did it again. God dog. Well, I guess we're not gonna have a visual for me because this is ridiculous. I'm getting rid of that. So what we're gonna do now is use the dark silver to paint the guns. Forgot, never used these paints before, so I gotta undo everything. All right, this is the dark silver. And it looks like a perfect gun metal. Gonna paint the guns. And while I know most guns aren't gonna be shiny, I don't want this all to just be flat paints. Figure the metallic guns will give it a little bit of a pop. Give it just a little bit of a pop. Bloop. We're partially there. Isn't that much better? Isn't that much better than the what are we looking at? Orange? Generic orange? Right? That's what I want. Characters to pop. The gunmetal out. Now what we'll do is we will paint the shoes. With a dark warm gray, which we have some of. And actually what I want to do is get a dry brush going with this. Alright, so we are going to dry brush this with a very short brush. Oh. It's my brush that I use specifically for dry brushing because the bristles are so short. I just gather a little bit of the paint and knock most of it off. And put a very, very small amount on there and then just lightly go over the areas. Lightly go over those areas. So lightly go over. Screen reset. Perfect. All right, next we're going to do the pants. Here we go. Hey, Joe. Thanks for dropping in and watching. And thank you for liking it. There we go. All right, give me a little bit of blue right here. When I say a little bit of blue, I mean just the smallest possible. Because we are just dry brushing the pants. I'm going to take just the tiniest amount, waste a bunch of my hand, take all that paint out. Then we'll just lightly go over the pants. And if you can hear that, that's almost like scraping. That's exactly what you want to do with the dry brush. You just want to scrape the very edges of what you're trying to paint to give it that highlighted look. It's going to change it significantly from that dark blue. To this with more popped highlight. All right, that's good to go. I really like the look of that hoodie. Now we're going to go in with a little deeper details. And I'm going to paint some leather on Josh. And for that leather, we're going to be using light umber. All right, so we're going to be using this brown. Forget to take out that button again. Yep. Oh, perfect. Just going to be using that paint on the top of the lid. Bleep blop. Bloop. We should be doing a very thin line. On the belt. He's got some. Josh has some little things hanging out of the hoodie, so we want to paint those. Give them a little depth. I don't know what they are, but they're probably important. A little bit more paint. He has this really cool little sign on Josh's chest that says human. We just want to paint that a little bit. With the brown. Not too much paint. Just enough so that you know that there's a sign on Josh's chest. Slightly get the hair. I cannot do eyeballs, so it won't have eyeballs. Oh, what up, super nerd? You know me, chilling, killing. Thanks for watching via Twitch. Hope you like the show. Thanks for giving me a follow. That helps a lot. Oh, you know, just painting some minis for Zombicide. Having a good old time. Bloop, bloop. Very light. Very light paint. Painting the hands. I play in Dungeon Master. I run a game the first Sunday of every month for some younger players. A 5-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 13-year-old, and then the parents. On Twitch, I don't normally run anything yet, but during my Extra Life 24-hour streams, I'll have players on and we'll run different things. We've played Dungeons and Dragons before, but I prefer modern games or supernatural things like East Texas University. Really like East Texas University for Savage Worlds. Also like on Dungeons and Dragons, I love the monk class. I'm a huge fan of the monk class, but I play it almost the same every single time, and that's I roleplay it as a luchador. So I'll pretend to be Macho Man Randy Savage when I'm a monk. And I absolutely love it. I adore it. I love the role playing of that class as a wrestler. I have to say that a class that I'm very interested in playing is the Spell Guard, that new class that popped up. I had a friend of mine playing a Spell Guard. uh, what was he? He was a Warforged spell guard. I liked it very much. It was very unique. So what we have here, yes, the monk class is super fun. I just think it's very versatile. Um, it gives you a lot of options, and again, I love to role play. Not just abusing the class features of the monk, but finding a way to use his abilities in a role-playing function. For those of you that can't see on Facebook, I have a follower here named SuperNerd90 on Twitch. You can find me on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and any other place I can possibly get out on. Yeah. You know, I've found that a majority of the time you're gonna have a lot of different players at the table, and you need each of them. You're gonna need a murder hobo. You're gonna need somebody that loves to role play. You're gonna need somebody that uh, isn't afraid to be a skill monkey. Like it takes everybody to make the team full, right? I will have to say that I'm very excited for the new Zombicide RPG. Like I said, I like playing Dungeons and Dragons, but I found that as I've gotten older, I want different things. I want modern. Uh, One of the things that I really hope to see in the near future is uh, Wizards of the Coast just brought back Kamigawa, and it's more like a uh, cyberpunk Japanese feel to it, and I absolutely love it. And you know, they did Ravnica, they did Strixhaven, they did Theros, Dungeons and Dragons crossovers, and I hope that they continue that pattern because I think it's a fantastic way to uh, give Dungeons and Dragons players options for not just playing in Faerun or the normal Dungeons and Dragons places. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but you know those options are fantastic. And then two, It brings players that wouldn't normally play Dungeons and Dragons into playing Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, and with the, you're gonna get that. You're gonna get that with a monk. A lot of stunning, a lot of dodging. Multiple attacks. And then once a monk gets high level, healing and getting people out of trouble. All right. And I know it's a little bit darker than what's there on the card. I think it's a lot better than just the plain orange piece that it was. Set it down and back out. Where's my light? That could help too. There we go. I think I'm going to paint the tip of that machete silver so that we know it's a machete. Of this glaring white piece. Bloop. 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 There we go. The last thing I'm going to do is paint the base black, or I don't know, what should I paint it? Should probably paint it black. Coal black. There we go. Coal black. A little goes a long way. And again, one of the things that I love about these Pro Acryl Monument Hobbies paints is that they have amazing coverage. then tomorrow, after this is completely dried, I'll hit it with a matte varnish to seal it. That way, if anything happens, it won't crack or get gross. She's good to go. In comparison to the original orange that they tend to be, beautiful difference. I am done for the night. So thank y'all very much for watching. I wish you could see my face. Let me see if I can point it this way real quick. I had a few technical difficulties, but we worked through them, and we'll get everything straightened by our next 24-hour stream. So thank you very much for watching. If you had any questions, like me on Facebook, send me a message, and